Okay, welcome to wire drawing. For this exercise, I'm going to be using, I don't know why that's backwards, but 18 gauge dark annealed wire. Comes in big spools at the hardware store, something like that. And I use 18 gauge because it's easy to bend with the hands. You can use a thinner wire if you prefer. You can see the difference in the wire thickness here. And this is more expensive, but you could also use copper wire. It's very soft. Okay, and you can find those at the craft store. You also are going to need pliers. Not necessarily, you don't have to have these, but they're helpful. Okay, I've got two different kinds right here, one with a bent tip and one that's flat. And then please don't mind the rust, but I've got a pair of wire cutters as well. Okay, so why are we doing this exercise? Why do we want to draw in wire? Why is this the first thing that we do when we're introduced to sculpture? Well, we're taking the two-dimensional and we're lifting it up and into the third dimension. So, for example, we have all of these tricks to make a circle look like a sphere on a two-dimensional flat piece of paper. Now we're going to be taking this circle and thinking about it as it exists in space, right? So, for example, take a look at this photo of a skull, okay? And now I've got a skull right here that we can use as an example, a three-dimensional skull. In this two-dimensional skull right here, right, we have the look straight on, just like this. It looks about the same. But what happens if we turn this skull like this? Now it looks nothing like this two-dimensional drawing, right? So when we think about the 3D, right, we have to think about every single surface and aspect of the object, okay? So that's why when we are making these wire drawings, we're going to have multiple viewpoints, right? We need to know what it looks like from the top, from the side, even from the bottom or the back, okay? It's a little bit more complex than 2D drawing. We're going to have to think a little bit differently here. And so that's why we're going to start with a wire drawing. Another reason why we want to use wire for our first exercise is that this creates the bones of sculpture. Okay, so when we bend and shape wire, we can then build on top of that wire to create our sculpture. And that's called wire armature, which we'll be getting to in our next session. Okay, so for our exercise here, I have two viewpoints of a dragonfly. Okay, and I'm going to teach you how to bend and shape this wire to make this dragonfly. So, I'm going to take quite a bit of wire. I am not going to detach this spool here. I'm going to keep my wire attached to that so that I can just keep unraveling wire as I make this, okay? All right, so I need one continuous strong line throughout this whole armature or wire drawing so that it all sticks together really strongly, right? This is like my spine of my wire sculpture. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the tail, at the tip here. I'm going to come up and make this abdomen, and then I'll come up and make the eyes, and then I'll come back down and finish it off up at the tail. Okay, so the end of your wire could be really pokey, so I'm going to take pliers and I'm going to fold that over to create a little loop, basically. I'm going to pinch that loop together so it folds. Okay, that way I'm not poking myself as I'm working with this. All right, let's make this tail. So I'm going to come up, I'm going to bend the wire, and I'm going to make a round piece. Actually, I'm only going to do half of that round piece, right? Because I also want to make the face here. Okay, so far we have done this part up and this part right here, just on one side. Okay, bring that over so you can see. I could even trace this, I bet, if I wanted to with my wire. That is an option. Okay, so now I want it to start crisscrossing, and I'll show you why we want our wires to crisscross. Okay, so I'm actually going to come up and across, and then I'm going to come back to create my head. And you see how I just took my finger and wrapped it around my finger? Okay. To create a round object. Okay, so now you can see I have the tail, the abdomen, and now I have the head. And I want to crimp it actually so you can see the eye lobes. So what I'm going to do here, I think I'm just going to take this right here. I'm going to pinch them together, squeeze them together. See if I can. That flattened it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch these a little bit to bring them back out. Okay, there, slight crimp. Okay, so now I have a crisscross in my wire. Right here is where they overlap each other and they crisscross. This is really important. So this is an anchor point, a place where that we can stabilize our wire structure, and this is how we're going to do it. Wherever there's an anchor point, take your pliers and pinch. You can also take your fingers and pinch if you don't have pliers, okay? Take your fingers or your pliers and pinch right on that overlap, and not very hard, you can see, just gently. And then we're going to twist this whole thing around. I'm going to give it one good twist here. We've got to figure out how. I'm going to pinch from the top like that. I'm going to twist this just once. Okay? And that's going to make a twist. You can see that twist, right? I want that twist to be very tight. So I'm going to pinch that and crimp it. A tight twist. All right. I'll let you guys catch up here for a sec. Okay, so now I'm coming back down to create the rest of our dragonfly here. I'm going to crisscross again, right, to create the thorax. So here, I'm going to pinch right where I want, the abdomen to be, not the thorax. I'm going to pinch, I'm going to twist, okay? Does not have to be a very tight twist. It's actually kind of pretty, huh? This one untwisted a little bit, and I actually like that a lot. Okay. So now we're going to come down and finish our thorax here. This is the thorax, that part. Okay. Now, I could unhook this little loop right here, kind of feed the wire into it. Otherwise, you can get to this point, and once again, pinch and twist. Takes a bit more hand strength. Okay. See if I can kind of work those apart a little bit. Okay. Ta-da! Now we have the body of our dragonfly. Now it is a top-down view, right? This is still somewhat two-dimensional. It looks flat, right? So now I need to make it three-dimensional by adding volume to it, okay? What is volume? This is the illusion of volume, right? Of mass, of it taking up space. Okay, so here we have no volume, right, with those three. Now, if I put them together, organize them into a sphere, you can see now that the space in between this is the volume. Sorry, they don't want to stick together. Okay, the space in between this is the volume. We have collapsed, no volume. And when it's put together, see if it'll get put back together, we have volume. Now we have a space in the middle. Okay, so that's what we need to do with our dragonfly. So how are we going to do that? Could do this a couple ways. For this thorax here, I'm going to take this wire, I'm going to loop it down and underneath until it connects to that anchor point, like this. So now I'm starting to highlight and define the mass, right? From here, I'm going to pinch right at that anchor point. I'm going to wrap my wire around it, okay? So now when I look at it from the side, it's beginning to look like this side view right here. Do you see how that works? Okay, let's make this have mass. So what I'm going to do, unspool some more wire, is I am just going to wrap around this all the way up to the eyes. and maybe even back down a little bit. Oh, I'm getting my wire all twisted. There we go. I can do this a couple times. If you want, you could do this down here too, up to you. Okay, so now from the side, looks like it's starting to have mass. Okay. From here, we're going to add our wings, because now we're here at the thoracic, the thorax, sorry, and the thoracics when they were dinosaurs. So what I meant is the abdomen. So we're already here at the abdomen, right? So I'm just going to make the wings because we're here, because it's simple. One thing about making wire drawings is it's really important not to cut your wire. It's okay if you do, but if your wire is one continuous line, it's going to be much stronger than trying to wrap a bunch of tiny pieces together, because they usually come apart or they don't make very clean lines, right? So this is going to be the bottom of my wing because I'm at the bottom of my abdomen. Okay, I'm making this lower wing right here. I'm starting here and I'm going down. Okay, so here I go. Start there, go down, fold it, come back. One wing down. And I can continue to shape it with my fingers. I'm going to wrap around the abdomen once. Now I'm going to go the other direction and do the bottom wing. Okay, so just measuring how long is that, about the length of my finger there. Okay, taking that, folding, bending, coming back, okay. I might need a little bit more wire to make that look even. Do you see how there's more space? Let me get my hands out of the way. Do you see how there's more space in this wing versus this wing? So I can fix that by just feeding more wire in, right? Just giving it more wire to work with there. Okay. I'm going to fold it, wrap it around my abdomen. Okay. And back up for the top wing. Okay, now that's a little deformed. No worries. You can open it up with your fingers. Make it a little wider. Pinch it together where you need it to. Okay. Wings. Let's do the same over here. Let's fold it down. And let's pinch this one tight. There at the top to get that dragonfly shape in the wing. The sun's been creeping up on me. See if I can scoot us over a little bit here. It's amazing to see, watch that sun move so quickly. Just tightening up the camera here for a sec. Let y'all catch up. Okay. Scoot do everybody over again to an exposure that we can actually see. There we go. Okay, moving on to that second wing. Okay, come out, measure, make sure that it is symmetrical with your bottom wing. Pinch. And bring it back. Okay. There's my second dragonfly wing. Opening it up and pinching that end so it gets that beautiful dragonfly shape. Unspooling more wire. Okay, now I'm going to grab, wrap, do the other top wing. Measure, bend, make sure it's symmetrical. I can make it smaller by pulling wire in, giving it less wire. Or I can make it bigger by pushing wire in, giving it more wire. So that's me pulling it, making it smaller, pushing it, making it larger. Okay. You see that I've pinched it right where I want it to rest. And I can make my adjustments and measurements that way. Here we go. Wrapping again to anchor. Good. And if you look from the side, it's starting to look like it has a body. But now we got to make those eyes, right? Actually, since we're still on the abdomen right here, I'm noticing that all of the legs come out right where my wire is. You see that? All of those legs. So what I'm going to do actually is the legs first, okay? So we have 6 legs here. So here is one set of legs. I see that they kind of bend forward. So see how I put a bend in mine too? Because that line goes ch-ch. So I went but, bend it back on itself. And you can pinch it together with your fingers, or you can take your wire, your pliers, pinch it together. Okay, there's one leg. Come around, wrap around your abdomen, go back down, make the same line, pinch, and pinch. Okay, there's 2 legs. Going to wrap back up, and around, and down. Got a little too much, the wire's a little loose right there. So what I'm going to do you see that? That little extra loop right there? It's because I didn't pull and tighten the wire. So I just have too much of it. So I'm going to try to just flatten that. And that kind of worked a little bit. So I'm just going to take that and twist it into the leg, and hopefully it'll just fix itself. Oops. kind of. Let's pinch that together like nothing ever happened. Okay, it's a bit more tight. There we go. Okay, we got 6 legs, so here's our first 2, right? There's our first 2. Time to do our next set. So I just come down, measure, right? And I'm gonna say I want it to be right there, right? Because that's where this leg is bent. So I put my pliers right where I want it to fold. Okay, and then I make my fold and I squeeze it together with the pliers. You can also pinch and twist. If it's twisted, it's not going anywhere, right? Here we go. Okay, let's come back. Let's see here, we gotta go up and over the dragonfly to get to the other side. So up, over the top, and then back down. Okay, that sets us up nicely for our next leg. Okay, we measure where this leg is. Okay, pinch our plier where that leg goes and fold. Okay, make sure, now we're working around the wings and stuff, and I want to twist just to make sure that that is all in one spot like that. Okay, back over the top, back down to make the third leg. Okay, and pinch, fold, unspool some more wire. And then I want to come back up and over, so I got to lift this up and around like that. So the wire is coming, it went down between these 2 wings. Oh, sorry, you can't see that. It went down between these 2 wings, right? So it's going to come back up between these 2 wings. It's threaded between the 2 wings right there. Can't really see that, can you? Okay, so it's threaded between these 2 wings right here. There. Threaded between these 2 wings, right? So it came down and through. So it's going to come back up and through. Okay. Pinch, twist, like so, and back over the top. I want to show you what I mean. If you haven't figured out what I was just talking about, like where does that leg go? I will illustrate it here. Okay, so pay attention to this spot right here. You see these 2 wings? We're going to take our wire, we're going to go down between those 2 wings, okay? And then we're going to pinch where we want it to fold. Okay, up, back, up we go. Back up between those 2 wings, okay? So that it keeps going to the same exact spot where we started. Okay, and we're going to pinch I'm going to twist that wire together so that it's nice and strong, so it's not going anywhere. Okay. Okay. Very good. Now I'm taking this wire, and just to make it strong, I'm just going to wrap it at the very base of this, of the abdomen there. I'm going to finish it off. So that's that. That is all. Okay. So you can see now that I have got my abdomen and my wings, and I've got 6 legs. Okay. Where to go from here? Let's flesh out the rest of our body here. We can do that by taking our wire and just wrapping it. I'm going to twist it because I can. Okay, all the way down. Now you can make this as dense or as loose as you want in your wraps. Okay. Here we go. And I'm actually going to come back up and go back up this. Just give it another wrap. Why not? Just for fun. I do love twisting the wire on itself. It's really fun. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So now I am going to cut our wire. Just because there's already a lot going on in here, quite a bit actually, to the point where I just don't want to add any more to it. It's a little too complicated. So what I'm going to do is take my wire cutters, cut it, give it a good tail, okay? You see I gave it a lot of space. That way I can wrap it and really tuck this wire end into somewhere where it's not going to come out and poke me. Okay, so I'm going to take that end, I'm going to bend it, and sorry. Like so. So that when I pick this up, there's no sharp pointy edges to poke me. Okay, now I kind of want to bend happy little dragonfly feet here. So I'm just gonna take this and bend all the edges so that it's got little feet, because I think it's really cute. It's kind of fun. Okay. It's beginning to stand. Look at that. Right? Cool. Okay, let's do these eyes. And then I think I'm going to use a lesser gauge wire, a thinner gauge, to do the veins in the wings. Okay. Sun's creeping up on us again. Let me put this in the sunshine so you can see the shadow. It's really pretty. It is really pretty. Okay, for this next step, because it's such a small area, it's just the eyes, I'm just going to take a tiny bit of wire here, maybe like a foot, which might even be too much, but oh well, I'll cut it this time. This will give me greater dexterity as I'm working with this. see what happens if I move this into the sun a little bit more. Minus all the shadows, huh? Lots of different shadows. Okay. Makes it confusing. It's cool. I've got 2 drawings now. Haha! That's amazing. Okay, sorry. Anyways, shadow puppets, just playing around. Okay, so now I've got my free wire here. I'm going to take this wire. I think what I'm going to do is just stick it in. That's not going to work. Okay, let me show you how to anchor wire here. So take your edge. You're going to pinch it down. You're going to fold it. You're going to make a tiny, tiny, tiny loop. Or at least the beginning of one, okay? Don't make the full loop just yet. Okay, now I'm going to hook that loop, onto where I want it to anchor. Okay, which is right in the middle there. Should have gave it more of a tail actually, sorry. So, scrap that. Having some technical difficulties. Okay, back it up. Here we go. I'm going to take this, and then I'm going to bend it for that loop. Okay? See that? Now I've got a lot more wire here. This wire has a lot more tail to it. You can see in the shadows there. Okay? So now take it, pinch it where you want it to go to anchor it, right? And also to crimp it down, pinching it tight. Can be pretty squirrely. Just have patience and feel like the wire isn't really doing what you want it to. Don't worry. Okay, now I'm holding it right there and I'm saying you're not going to move, at least as long as you're right there. Okay, and I have it crisscrossed. See what I mean about it's best just to have one continuous wire so you avoid all of this hullabaloo. Okay, so I'm going to push, pinch right where I want it to go, in theory. Now I'm going to twist this wire so that it's tight, so that it tightens up on itself. And you'll drop it. It won't pinch where you want it to go. Do not worry. It just takes practice and focus and patience. All good things to cultivate in life. Because it's never easy. So the more you can be okay with things not being that easy, the better off we'll be in the long run, I promise. That's where creativity comes into play too, huh? How can you be creative when things are hard? How can you figure out some solutions when things are hard? That's why we make art. One of the reasons. There's a lot of different reasons. Okay, this is getting really frustrating for me. So I'm going to call that good. It's loose. I don't mind. Okay. It's not structural. So I'm going to say I meant to do that. Okay. So now I'm going to take this wire here and bend it back. Whoa. I'm going to pinch it where I want it. And then I'm going to wrap it. Oh my gosh. Really difficult. Why does it have to be so hard? There we go. Got like a little tail there. That's okay. Okay. So I split the wire. So now you can see, if you look at the cast shadow, I've got 2 lobes for the 2 dragonfly eyes, right? So now I'm just going to wrap this around like that to give the dragonfly its face. Okay, now I'm towards the end here, and I want to tuck this wire. Do you see that wire poking out in the shadow? That wire right here. So what I'm going to do is just fold it with my pliers down and just push it into the center of my wire sculpture where it can't poke anybody. Okay? Ta-da! Now, the last part of this sculpture is going to be the lace in the wings. So I'm going to take my thinner wire here. This should be a lot easier to work with, this thinner wire. Okay. Now I'm going to anchor it to my wing and take it and wrap this edge around that wire. I'm just going to wrap it. Okay. And then I'm going to slide that down the wing. Okay. I'm going to come, kind of compress that a little bit and come up. I'm also going to cut this wire here. Going to come up, pinch, wrap it. Could thread it and loop it if you wanted to. Okay, I'm going to crimp it. Take it back down. Okay. fingers off so you can see. Pinch it, wrap it, anchor, okay. Getting some lace. Now here you can make cool designs, right? So I'm going to do that by wrapping around the outside of the wing, coming back up. Remember, pinch it where you want it to bend and then fold it up. It will save you a lot of time and energy. Okay, now I want it to bend here over this wire. So I'm going to thread the wire through. And pull. As long as I'm pinching it where I want it to go. Sometimes you gotta talk to it, right? And be like, I need you to go this way. Okay, here we go. Pinch. Back through. And down. There it is. Pinch. Bend, pinch, bend, pinch, bend, need that to be tighter. There it goes. Pinch, try that again. Pinch, bend, okay. Some wing lace now. So feel free to do that for the rest of your wings. I won't do that here. I'll make the video too long. Okay, I think I'm gonna do just loosely wrap this wire around the wing because I think it looks pretty. That's all. And maybe just add a few more lines of wire. Okay. When you bring it back to the base, wrap that wire nice and tight. You can use your pliers if you need to. Okay. We're going to trim that long wire. See it right there? we're going to tuck it in to our sculpture. There it is. A dragonfly. Move everything off of our surface here so you can truly see it in all of its glory. See if I can find a spot where there is no immense sunshine. Okay, there it is. Our dragonfly.